This video will discuss planning and time management from the Academic Librarian and Skill Tutors online workshops for the University of Staffordshire. So this workshop will cover how you currently use your time and how it can be improved, and provide you with some strategies and ideas for planning your time better and managing your time better. Also, towards the end, we'll be talking about preparing for exams and assignments. So consider your typical week. Currently, how much time do you spend on different activities? And this could be sleeping, eating, studying, working, leisure time, shopping, all that life admin. And it's probably different throughout the weekdays and the weekend, and it might also be different if you're a parent with children and school holidays to consider. So just try and plan out roughly what your week looks like and how much time you spend on these activities currently for a typical week. You can stop the video for a bit if you like while you do that. Okay, so now you've planned out that time, is there anything surprising in there at all? Are you looking at things that may be time wasters that could maybe be narrowed in the amount of time you spend with them? When is there opportunity to study? When does your brain work best? Are you a night owl or an early bird? And where can you go to study in that time? If you're not very productive at home, is there a local library you can use instead where you go to study? So think about the place as well. So of the 24 hours in a day, think how many of these activities are time wasters? And we are thinking all the time and making decisions on how we spend our time. And if we've got too many time wasters, we need to try and steer the decision making away from the time wasters to a better use of our time. So when it comes to getting started with activities like tackling an assignment, there is a relationship between your confidence and the effort you'll put into it. So if you think you're good at something, you're confident about completing it, getting started won't be such a problem generally. But if you are concerned or feeling underconfident about starting something like an academic assignment, there's a lot of worry that sets in, and that can actually lead to taking a while to actually get started, if at all. And the thing to do in these cases are breaking what has to be done into small steps. We'll be talking about breaking things down into small steps later in the presentation when we consider revising for exams and actually assignments. This is a way of prioritising tasks. And we start off with those important and urgent, important but not urgent, not important but urgent, not important and not urgent. So let's have a think about each of these ones in turn. So these important and urgent tasks, they need to be done right away. So it's things like you've got an exam this week and you need to revise for it. You have an assignment due tomorrow, needs to be submitted, that needs to be completed. These tasks, they're important and they're also of urgency time-wise. So they just need to be at the top of the list and done. Now the second one is these are important tasks, but they're not yet urgent. This could be something like an assignment, but it's not due in for 3 weeks. Or it could be some coursework. In other words, something that has to be done. It's very important, but it's not quite urgent yet. There's some time to do it. And the aim is not to allow this to become too urgent by not tackling it. So some kind of plan needs to be done for these tasks. And the most successful students do plan to do these tasks in advance. So if you know you've got something to do within 3 or 4 weeks, do you have a rough idea sketched out on how you're going to tackle that particular thing? You could put some kind of reminders on your phone, on a spreadsheet, some other program on your laptop, just pen and paper in a diary, whatever suits you. But there needs to be some kind of outline. So it's breaking the tasks down into things that don't seem too overwhelming to tackle. And then to come up with a rough timeline of how to do it. And it can be how you like. It could be daily tasks, it could be weekly. So it's whatever suits you, really. But what we don't want is for these to become urgent. So now on to the urgent but not important. Now these can really wait. And an example of this would be something like you've got a WhatsApp group with your fellow students, and somebody has asked a question that will require quite a long answer. There is that tendency to feel that you want to respond to it urgently, but it isn't really that important to respond to it urgently. It can be done later when there's a better opportunity. And again, it could be something like an email that comes in and you stop what you're doing to reply to it immediately. It may not need replying to immediately. It's not an urgent response, but it feels urgent. There is that urge to stop what you're doing and respond. But is it important? If it isn't, these tasks need to be put aside. And they can be done some other time. There's no big consequence for not doing them. And then finally, we've got these not urgent or important tasks, which are your time wasters that can definitely wait. Other things like procrastinating by doing other things, like you may not normally like cleaning the house, but if you've got an assignment to do, you might start cleaning the house just to avoid doing that thing that you lack confidence in. You could be redrafting your notes. You could be doing a revision timetable and colouring it in or highlighting it. Basically, doing things that are wasting time when you need to get going on other things. Now, what about binge watching TV? Well, a lot of people relax by watching the TV, and that's great. But if you've got an assignment due the next day, binge watching a series is not such a good idea. It's then a time waster. So try and think how you can curb these time wasters. Are there strategies that you can use? Can you put alarms on your phone or something like that and think, well, I am going to do this for an hour, but then I need to get started. So really, if you are finding yourself bogged down by these time wasters, think about how you can actually intervene on that. How can they be cut down? You'll feel better once you start being more productive and getting the work done instead of putting it off and wasting time. Just before we finish, a few words on your assignments and exam revision. So it's much better to break things down into manageable chunks to avoid overwhelm. So if you think about a typical assignment, you'll get the assignment brief and learning outcomes that you need to make sure you clearly understand before you start. You'll do some research using academic sources and take some notes to be included in the assignment. Once you've done that, you can sketch out a plan, almost like a skeleton of the structure of the assignment. Introduction, Chunks you will be discussing are themes that address the learning outcomes and a conclusion. And you'll probably redraft the assignment and you'll need to proofread it as well. So all those are stages in the assignment. So you could break it down into those. And also, when I said the main chunks or themes within the assignment that you're going to talk about to cover those learning outcomes, you could actually put headings in your assignment to write under to further help you break it into chunks. Now, some lecturers do not mind if headings are in an essay or report. They're usually in a report anyway. But some don't mind if they're in an essay. Conventionally, there aren't any headings in an essay. If that's the case, you can take the headings away later. But if you put the headings in, they're easier to tackle. Oh, I'm going to write about this aspect of the learning outcome now in this particular section. It's much easier if you've got it planned and broken down to do little bits of it. And sometimes you end up doing even more once you've started. For the exam revision, you need to develop an effective way of revising that works for you, an active way of revising. This could involve things like cards, mind maps, reading, redrafting, because that is active, because you're thinking about the material and putting it into different words, something active to learn that work. And this needs to be broken down because how many times do you need to go through that material? Base your revision on the main module content and then expand out once you've got the basics and think, well, I need to go through this content. Do I need to go through it another time? Do I need to go through it another time? And then plan accordingly. But you know yourself by now what's needed and plan out some kind of time frame for revision to reduce that stress. This is the important but not urgent. You don't want to leave it too late and end up with a mark that doesn't show your true ability. So the planning and time management will help you to get better marks while having less stress, hopefully less time wasting activities, and maybe even get you a bit more leisure time.